A creation story of love. Aloha, I Need Out Living's 180th conversation. I am Julian Katari, and this is Sacred Blue Heron Woman. And today we're going to fill you with cosmic love with this story about creation. Now, creation stories, what is that about? Why are they important, Ingrid?
Because it tells us our origin, how we came into
Mhm.
being.
Right. And to this, I want to like think of about whatever person would put themselves with the question, what would make the question, well, why is it, aren't we, isn't there a true story, isn't there a one single story, why do we have to tell a story? Because then there's, we would have to answer to them, well, how factual is the story you believe, how true is that, how because
Yeah.
some people, I mean, there's this idea that this telling a story, that's nonsense. There is a reality, there's a history of how we came into being, right? That's, and science knows that, but then science doesn't fully know that, and that's so much open to interpretations.
Right.
And if you go deep into animism, if you go deep into shamanism, you will learn that there's just a whole different way to tell the story of everything, of how things come about. So that's why a creation story is, it's a crucial thing. Wouldn't you think so?
Yes, I believe so. And what I have told a very religious friend of mine is that what Christians consider the evolution story is a Big Bang theory.
Hmm.
And because we so believe in linear time, the Big Bang theory takes place across millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of linear time years, but it allows absolutely no presence for the anima and the animus, the yin and the yang, the Shakti and the Shiva.
That's it. They don't
Absolutely
allow
not.
a living universe. They don't take into account a living universe.
Whereas the creation story told by the Bible has this God who is playing with Legos and says, I'm going to put a human here, and I'm going to put a tree here, and I'm going to put this here in this garden.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to take it away from them because they fucked up.
Mhm.
And
So
it
that's also
has
not the best story.
and it has this God creating man out of dirt, and then putting him to sleep and taking a rib out of his side and producing a woman out of a rib. And you cannot get from there to the uterus. You just can't.
Hmm.
And again, it has this very Lego Toyland approach to it without any animus or animating force.
Right. Right. So you've
So
shared a creation story before, and now you're going to share a new one,
it's a
or it's
intertwining.
the same one. It's a better version of the same one, maybe.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
Okay. So that people know that we are going so far into this that we're even rewriting a creation story.
oh man, yeah, absolutely. I've rewritten it. I don't know how many times. Um, so this is a love story for the entire universe, you, me, and every living
Hmm.
organism. And again, we're going to repeat this several times. A great question asked by humanity for ages and ages has been, is there a God? And if so, how do we relate to this God? And also, somewhere along the line, God has become known as a power. So now we have to ask, what is our relation to this power and who has it?
Hmm.
And we want irrefutable or visible proof of his existence, since we've been taught that this God is a male.
Hmm.
Okay, so through scientific investigation, it has been discovered that there is this universal force, a primal energy or spirit pervading the whole universe, filling the infinite space, and that this force or energy spirit is ever expanding and also rushes in to meet us. So this is where I just saw a video today that I like, that I will make, it's becoming my own personal belief that the soul is this force, this yin yang, anima, animus. Anima is the feminine, the yin, the Shakti. The animus is the male, the yang, the Shiva. The spirit, the Bible says that Christians believe is God breathed into man the breath of life. The spirit is the breath of life. Anyone who knows how to breathe is a spirit. And I'm going to tell you right now that rocks know how to breathe. So they are spirits. They are alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Every tree breathes. Every animal breathes. So that is a difference between the spirit and the soul. And then we have the physical being, matter, the form. So I'll be explaining that better. That's just not today, at another time, but that's just a brief that I came across, and I was like, wow, I like that. Absolutely, that resonates. That lights me up like a Christmas tree. So Max Planck, the German physicist, father of quantum physics, says there is no matter as such. So that means you don't exist and I don't exist. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force is the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind, not brain, mind. The mind is the matrix of all matter. That's what Max Planck, the German physicist, father of quantum physics, said. So we know that there is no matter, it's all mind. Because the force brings the matter together. And the video I told you about on my Facebook page explains that better. Gives it a different, So the Chinese have known this force, energy, or spirit for a very long time and called it the Tao. They know it is a force, spirit, or power that is generous and nourishing of all creatures, and it is that which governs the natural order of all things, or this God process, the galactic ordering dynamic. That is what this mind is. The Hawaiian Polynesians knew it as Amakua, the Mayans, the first ray of creation, and Ishmukane, is that Mayan or Andean?
Ishmukane is Maya.
Maya, okay. So, and then the Keras Indians knew it as Spider Grandmother. We've talked about the creation story of Spider Woman and Ishmukane, right? So the Keras Indians knew this primal force as being a weaver or a thinker and a dreamer. Thought, mind, right? So long ago in the time before time, in a realm beyond the laws of physics, beyond the minds of humans, beyond the ken of anyone, there was a deep, black, dark nothingness. Big black hole. In this nothingness, there was calm, stillness, and silence. There was no light, no dark, no warm wind, no rain, nor thunder. There was no cold, no ice or snow. There was only an eruption which birthed a pulsing ray, magnetic filament of brightness. Light came into being and gave sight to the inhabitant of this void. This inhabitant was or is a force, a power, an energy, an intelligence, a spirit, a mind, a consciousness. So we're going to call this God, or the galactic ordering dynamic. Now, with the contrast of light and darkness, our cosmic mother space was born, and this power, spirit, organizing dynamic could see itself, and it kind of looked like a one-legged spider with this bright ray of eruption, right? This was a very great, wise spirit whose essence is a being beyond imagination. No medicine man or woman, no conjurer or shaman, no witch or sorcerer, no scientist or inventor can imagine how great this power, this force, this energy, this breath of life spirit is. It's the pulsing, spinning energy power of love, or Munai consciousness, Munai mind. Munai being the Andean word for a love that's so much deeper than we can even begin to. It's not our American version of Valentine's Day love. Right? So love is the highest, this munai is the highest wave of the waters of feeling or emotion. It's like the power of the dream, the spirit of a vision, but much more clear. And it has no shape or movement because it just is. It is the power that creates all that is. It is the absolute principle of nourishing generosity that governs the natural order of all. Let's say the absolute principle of nourishing generosity. Is there anything nourishing about the world we've brought together today that sends people to prison in El Salvador for wanting a better life in America?
Oh, that's such a terrible thing.
So love, or munai, is to will the good of the other with the way you live your life. To will the good of the other, not yourself, the other, with the way you live your life. So this great loving force, with its ray or leg or magnetic filament of brightness, spun in the great oneness in the cosmic fertile womb. In that place where it, with its one ray leg of brightness, were alone and complete, a thought, idea, or dream started moving, a desire, building till it felt the full desire to fill this well of light and darkness with joyous dreams, ideas, or song. And it's all kind of the one and the same. I'm using a lot of different words because there's a lot of different stories that are coming together here, and we need to not be fixated on one word, right? So as this desire, emotion, or feeling came humming forth, another ray or leg or magnetic filament appeared, emitting a cloud-like substance that began to arise and encircle this space or void. As it created this field of plenty, which is our Milky Way galaxy and eternal land, the whole universe, her thoughts, ideas, and dreams pulsed and waved through the ray of light leg and the ray of the 1 foot snake that created patterns and became rhythms. And this one foot snake comes from the Mayan. It's the Mayan story. I'm weaving together, if it seems disjointed, I'm weaving together many, many different stories.
Yeah.
As best as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Until she felt a rippling, wrinkling within, then she knew that she was old and wrinkled, and the song dream was a song of great age. The wrinkling became tighter, more spidery and stronger, and she knew the wrinkling had folded up on itself and folded around itself. And she knew that others would imitate this time. Pachamama or Gaia, her daughter, would be ripples and wrinkles with spidery lines of power. Fold it and then fold it into a tight, moving shape. And it would also hold a great power within, like a mother holds new life. She knew that these things like walnuts and acorns and apples and pineapples and cactuses and mountains and even the oceans would imitate this time of rippling and wrinkling, of folding and enfolding. And humans, 2-legged beings, 5-fingered beings, would grow old and wrinkled in their brains and skin in honor of this time when she filled the well of darkness, the cosmic womb, with her joyous pleasure to form new life, new beings. So she heaved a great heave and cried a great cry and brought forth another ray, leg, or magnetic filament of a deep purple that began to encapsulate the thought forms or life forms that the field of plenty prepared from her thoughts, her dreams, her imaginings, her songs. She was so happy and so full of awe and gratitude of the beauty of her feelings and new life that she said, again, I will fill this well with my joyous dreams, ideas, and feelings and songs. So many patterns and colors of light gathered together as this spirit, this breathing, felt the tightening, rippling, and wrinkling. And she gave again a great heave and cried a great cry and gave birth to a sphere, a yellow ray leg, and she breathed on the sphere and gave it a physicality, and she named him Grandfather Sun. This was the first divine act of creation that femifested, not manifested, because men are like instantaneous. Feminine takes 9 months in the human to give birth. It takes 2 years in an elephant. It takes, right? But femifested. And it also manifests thought into form. So love is the essence of Grandfather Sun. And all of eternal land was awed by the intensity of his golden light. So this force spirit or God decreed that grandfather son would feed all who came into his circle with love. His mission was to give warmth, light, and love to all creation unconditionally. He was to be a constant reminder to all of the idea forms or thought forms or life form children that each of them carried a part of his eternal flame of love, and none were excluded from that source of light. So the void was now full of wondrous gifts of beauty, each evolving and exploding into new heights of love, the galactic ordering dynamic. So spirit, spider, Ishmukane, love, energy. Notice that the music of the spheres was felt but not heard, so the gift of listening was added, and now eternal land was complete. And now patterns of silver and blue started swirling as the spirit, spider, love, Ishmukane, God processed with her 5-leg rays were weaving a new wonder to behold, and she felt the tightening, rippling, and wrinkling again, gave a great high cry, heaved a great heave, and another sphere rolled from the void into the first world, the beginning of Father Time and the silvery light, laced with the pales of blue, gently gathered grandfather sun's light, tucking it into her body and reflecting it outward once again. So grandmother moon with her mission to give light in the places of darkness that would be called night. She is the reflector of grandfather sun's love and the weaver of our feelings, making them into dreams as we rest. To give our feelings substance, spider, Ishmukane, spirit, love, energy, called forth the shimmering waters from the field of plenty and gave grandmother moon the mission of weaving the ebb and flow of the countless waves of emotion. So this dancing fluid substance called water encircled grandmother moon and joyously exploded into shining droplets, coming together again in a body of liquid silver blue spiraling in the reflected light of grandfather sun. Water songs were varied and spontaneous, and as water touched the other light patterns and gifts of beauty, the harmonies and melodies changed because the light would reflect the feelings of those whom it touched. The great-grandmother spider, Ishmukane, love, energy, spirit, smiled and gave water, the God process, gave water its mission of cleansing, refreshing, and reflecting new feeling within all it would touch on its journey. Water was told it would have 2 parts to its nature, the refreshing and feeding aspect, and this is where we begin to see the first yin and yang, anima, animus, right? The refreshing and feeding aspect would be fresh, and its cleansing and releasing aspect would contain salt. The part of water that had salt in it was to carry the feelings of sadness away, finding new and revitalized use for the transformed droplet. The fresh and salt aspects would both return to the skies of eternal land to share the new understanding of all feelings encountered within the clouds and sky people. Knowing that water did not fully understand how this process would work, spider, Ishmukane, spirit, love, great mystery, energy, again, started dreaming, thinking, feeling, singing, and a ray or leg light appeared. This ray of the big house pulled a misty substance from the field of plenty and started rolling a ball that began to manifest as a swirling blue-green orb of light as it took the form. So now we have Earth, or Gaia, or Pachamama was her name, and she was a glory to behold as she sat with her envelope of misty substance, her atmosphere, between grandfather sun and grandmother moon. So with Mother Earth now present, we have spider, Ishmukane, spirit, love, energy, so happy she wanted to feel and think and dream and sing some more. So she did. Another ray or leg appeared, and this one was green, and it worked together with the ray of the big house to weave her song into thought forms, life forms. And spider, Ishmukane, spirit, love, decreed, God process, decreed that Earth would be the mother of these countless patterns and forms. They were weaving it. And they were woven into Mother Earth's body, Pachamama's body, to live as thoughts inside of her until she gave them physicality together with spirit, Ishmukane, spider, love, energy. God process. She wasn't done yet, so she started dreaming, thinking, and singing again, and another small ray leg appeared that was joining the weavings to create the life form patterns of the two-legged beings with the 5 different colors. And as she continued to dream and think and imagine and feel, and to arrange patterns of eternal beauty and set them into motion, dancing and playing throughout the void, she dreamed and imagined for all creature beings in the green ray cycles of estrus for the continuation of life. She dreamed of yonis and clitorises and lingams or penises to provide for the continuation of each species. For the two-legged beings of the small ray, she dreamed and imagined pleasure through the lips of love, the gratitude spot, and the blooming red pink rose of the clitoris, with a deep sensitivity to loving and being loved. She dreamed of beautiful penises and breasts and nipples with deep sensitivity, and she wanted all of her two-leggeds to feel the most pleasure possible and experience the most pleasure possible. And soon all the patterns had been placed and given their decrees and missions, and the song of each individual creation melded and became one with all the others. The celestial world was becoming whole and yet unmanifested physically inside the womb of Spider Spirit, Ishmukane love, God process, the black hole, the unified field, the 0 point, the consciousness. So many words for this, the Tao, right? So this celestial spirit world was endowed with wisdom and perfection, where life, unity, and equality would be held in sacred trust forever. No discord could penetrate the melodious feelings of at-one-ment that emanated from every spirit as the crescendo of unified hearts came together as one. And the spider, Ishmukane spirit love, God process, breathed the eternal flame of love, or Munai Aloha, into the heart center of each pattern or life form. And she breathed the eternal flame of creativity into each life form's natural center. And she dreamed the eternal flame of desire, imagination, thinking into each life form's brain center, and said that this inner space of these 3 spaces would be called their vibral core, their vital intelligence. And this would be the home of each one's center of the universe, the home of wisdom, the sense of balance, and understanding of eternal at-one-ment. So the science of this story is the science of the galactic center. The galactic center is the gravitational center of our Milky Way galaxy. It can be detected by listening for the sound it creates. Sound here being energy carried by gravitational waves. NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory has detected these sound waves, recording a note that is the deepest ever detected from any object in the universe. In musical terms, the pitch of the sound generated by this black hole translates into the note of B flat, 57 octaves lower than middle C. This image from NASA, the image from NASA of this black hole also shows 2 vast bubble-shaped cavities, each about 50,000 light years wide, extending away from the supermassive black hole. And these 2 cavities, which are sources of radio waves, are not really empty. They are filled with high energy particles and magnetic fields, and they push hot X-ray emitting gases aside, creating sound waves that sweep across hundreds of thousands of light years. The vacuum of this black hole is a perfect circle, and it is in the constellation of Sagittarius. So this is the galactic center, the void, or the field of plenty, the galactic ordering dynamic God process, the Tao. The science of the green ray comes from a man named Abraham Karim. He discovered that there is a centering quality in everything. This centering quality has 3 color components: ultraviolet, gold, and green, which is the carrier of the other 2. This green, or what he calls BG3, is the harmonizing effect that is found throughout power spots worldwide, and that is at the center of all shapes in nature, and is at the center of every single organ and cell in our body. So the green ray of the Mayans that created all of life on our planet, is truly is scientific. It's the harmonizing principle of the God process. Science has also discovered, as the rainbow of colors in Grandfather Sun move through our day, the green light of the rainbow is the neutral color. The God process is centering. The red and orange dominate in the early morning, followed by sky blue, and as Father Time downshifts into night, green is the neutral color zone. We don't see it, but it's there. So this great mystery, Spider, Ishmukane, spirit, love, Munai, collected substance and added it to the creations of the spirit world and eternal land. And as each creation received matter, each moved through the void and was born in the space of the physical world, and each life form was given Aini, reciprocity. So all was in balance and harmony as life abundant flowed through the sky world, which Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon, and Mother Earth would now call home. The spirits of the sky have beautiful faces, but no hearts or bodies, as they are not regulated or aged by time, and their mission is to work as thunderers. They will make their presence known as they send water spirits to the body of Earth Mother. They will create oceans, rivers, streams, and brooks to nourish the seeds. The sky people will show us their faces as Grandfather Sun returns their water essence to the sky nation in the form of cloud people. So if they choose to experience physical limitation, they will be allowed to enter Earth, taking hearts and bodies and wombs in order to experience the feelings of the heart and the womb and the mind and the brain through touching and sharing. Then we have the little people, the tiny ones, who look very much like the Earth tribe of two-legged. The little people live in the hollows of old tree stumps in tiny mounds of earth near streams and deep in green forests. And there were three types of work among these little people. Some are hunters, finding lost objects. Some are stone throwers, assisting the stone people in changing location. And others look after the seeds that give us food. The creature people are a vast and varied tribe and make up what is called the animal kingdom. They come in many colors, forms, shapes, and sizes, and these creature beings will exemplify the instincts needed by the earth tribe in their human form, their two-legged form. Some of these creature beings will fly, some will crawl, some will walk on four legs, and some will swim in the waters brought by the cloud people of the sky nation. And then finally, the earth tribe are the human two-legged. There will be 5 colors of these two-legged earth people. These human children of earth will have bodies that stand upright in order to support their brains, to keep their thoughts in the first act of not manifesting reality. I've got a mosquito or something bothering me here. Sorry. These two-leggeds must seek wholeness by balancing their human needs and their intellectual understanding. There are different colors of the earth tribe so that one day they will come together and compose the whirling rainbow tribe of peace.
Wow.
Grandfather Sun took his place in the sky world, and Mother Earth began to move in her own orbit around his shining light. Grandmother Moon found her circular path around around Earth Mothers and began to weave the reflected love of Grandfather Sun into the darkness called night. The orbits of these celestial bodies would mark the passage of time in the physical world. Time is a new concept, as all ideas of change are constantly present in the spirit world. The spirit world is eternal land because of the infinite, spontaneous, the spirit and soul world. Let's get that correct here. Spirit and soul world is eternal land because of the infinite, spontaneous, limitless creation that happens all at once and has no beginning or ending. So when the spirit and soul of Mother Earth had descended from infinite space, the foundation of truth was based in love, which allowed the mountains to form, giving feminine grace to the mother's body. The water spirits who exist in the spirit and soul world before coming to Earth took form as raindrops in the sky, and they became rivers, streams, and finally ocean. Well, streams, rivers, and then oceans. Let's get the order. Right. They fulfilled their mission of fertilizing Earth's virgin form, and soon life abundant began to spring from her. Every type of plant person who would ever inhabit the earth was blooming and producing and giving of its fruit. The water nursery of creation was born, and Earth Mother smiled as creature beings began to crawl from seas onto the land. The winged ones were the first of the creature beings to venture out into the first world. The inner voice from the field of plenty, which continued to instruct the creatures, told the winged ones that they would be given a physical characteristic that would remind all tribes of their story. So the feet of all winged creatures would always carry scales like those of the finned ones of the seas to remind all of the original home of those who now soar above the earth. The mammals of the oceans then emerged. Upon eating the seeds of life, they began transforming by growing fur and sturdy legs. And each four-legged was given a way to develop survival instincts that would later serve others who would seek that wisdom. And next came the little people, and their laughter was contagious. Finally came the two-leggeds from the water nursery of creation and stood on the shore. The black-colored two-leggeds were the first to appear and had been endowed with the gifts of seeking the truth of the void of the unknown. This darkest of the colors would set up rituals for seeking inner peace and growth. They would use rhythm and dance and connect to the heartbeat of Earth Mother. These ebony children of Earth would be able to withstand the strongest of Grandfather Sun's rays of light and would carry that love into the world through the expressions of truth they found in the void. The brown two-leggeds were connected to the records of the earth and would provide the knowledge of survival instincts for all of Earth's children. Does this explain why the Aztecs and the Incas had the agricultural experience they had?
Mm.
Yeah. The brown humans would work with the soil and respect the unity of working together for a common goal. This is why the Incas were the last oligarchic government to provide food, water, and shelter for all equally.
Mm.
The red two-leggeds were to be the faithful guardians of the Earth Mother's body and would honor the mother for her selfless giving and would set up the understanding of sacred space, respect, fair judgment, and sacred points of view. The red two-leggeds would further the understanding of the sacred hoop, the circle of the planetary family. The yellow two-leggeds were here to refine the truth and make new sets of knowing systems. They would teach others about ancestors, family ties, and social customs. And then the white two-leggeds were brought forth to use creativity and magnetism to seek the truth. They were originally gifted with authority, and their mission was to learn how to use these abilities in truth and fairness. And all humans are here to realize that they could love more than one person at a time without excluding any member of their clan or family, and that they are here to experience love, to receive love, to give love abundantly, and to be in love. And Bruce Lipton talks about this with his honeymoon effect. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the two-leggeds worshipped the love and warmth of Grandfather Sun, honoring the golden light of his love for many generations. All parts of creation understood their roles in spiders, Ishmukame, spirit, Munaiki, God's divine plan. An inner knowing identified the Tao's divine plan. An inner knowing identified and defined the natural order of life for every member of the planetary family. All of Earth's children marked and honored their sacred spaces and respected the sacred spaces of others. The balance of peace took root. The volcanoes and landslides had nearly stopped, and Earth Mother was coming to a resting point in her process of evolution. So the stompers of the dinosaur clan moved to more tropical regions because they preferred the jungles closer to the active volcanoes. And one of the yellow humans began to convince the others that the yellow color was superior to the others. Since their skin color was yellow like Grandfather Sun, they were loved more than the children with other skin colors. And they discovered a yellow metal that they were hoarding, saying it was the physical proof of Grandfather Sun's love. This is where we have the story of money replacing love.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
They said that the two-legged who obtained and used the metal to make shrines to their sun god would find favor and would rule the other colors. The clan chief of Wind brought an answer from Great Mystery, Golden Mother, Great Spirit, God process to this dilemma with the message. Children of Earth, the time has come for each of you to learn through opposites. Your strength and growth depends on your ability to remember and follow the path of beauty, which is founded in truth and love. So those who have chosen the crooked trail will have the opportunity to learn what it is like living in a world of scarcity, greed, mistrust, resentment, hatred, and bitterness. So each one of you must hold the essence of love in your hearts and honor that eternal flame, because your strength will come from this flaming life force, which is the part of me that dwells within each of you. So in this first world of unconditional love, love was replaced by the fear that grandfather son did not love all his children equally. Do we see anywhere where grandfather son doesn't shine equally?
Mm.
Right. Hatred and fear supplanted the true sense of worth that the God process had given every member of creation. So this first world brought forth two kinds of people, the people and those people. The people were the members of every color of two-leggeds who had been faithful to the God process, the original intent of equality and unconditional love. Those people chose to follow the crooked trail of greed and controlling others with ambition and glory for themselves and themselves only. So when those people chose to alienate others through dominion over them, grandfather son was called on to purify the pestilence present on the earth mother. And the people were called to earth mother's interior. So the first world then was destroyed by fire. The fire spirits who lived in grandfather son's fiery orb and earth mother's molten core came to burn away the darkness that had eaten away at the foundations of truth. So when any foundation is no longer solidly built on unconditional love, the shadowy characteristics inside every two-legged are able to take control. As earth had been cleansed, now earth mother and sky father brought forth the God processes the Tao's promise with the whirling rainbow of peace, filling sky nation with vibrant colors. The promise was that all creatures were loved equally by the true parents, Spider, Ishmukane, Tao, God process, Mother Earth, Mother Space, Father Sky, Father Time, Grandfather Sun, and Grandmother Moon. We have really, truly many parents here. Earth Mother said, children of Earth, Spirit, Spider, Ishmukane love has decreed that from this moment we are building a uniworld rather than a universe, and I will always protect and honor those who serve all our relations. Find the new rhythm of oneness that will begin the second world and continue to love one another. So the jealousy and greed of the first world had destroyed the warmth of grandfather son's unconditional love for all creatures, and all life was blighted by the cold. The brown two-leggeds became dominant in the second world because they used their talents to survive and eventually flourish. Those brown children carried the remembering in their frontal lobes and could access the memories of what had come before. So good medicine was now flowing through the second world. The clan mothers and medicine women were the guiding forces that served the two-leggeds, and they knew that all things were born of women, and it was understood that Earth Mother was the source of all physical needs for her children. So the men took the role of protectors and providers for the families, developing their talents of courage and boldness. And the men honored women as extensions of the clans of the original mother of all things. But unfortunately, carelessness and desire for control of the clan's destiny had ravaged the good medicine that had been nurtured by the early clan mothers. The sparkle of harmony had been tarnished as life became less survival-oriented for the brown two-leggeds. The teaching of the totems were being ignored, and the spoken language now contained disdain and critical words of ugliness. Greed surfaced once again, and self-importance stole the hearts of some people. The desire for community and equality had been plowed under, and new seeds of lust for control were growing into thistles of prideful antagonism and resentment. The winds of change blew seeds of love to the four directions, and dominance was prevalent in the attitudes of the two-legged. The women no longer nurtured the young as they once had. The men were slovenly and demanding of the women who feared the birth of new children. The memory of all that had gone on before was still adding girth to the frontal lobes of the brown humans' brains, which made the delivery of offspring very difficult. And the pelvic spread of the women did not grow to match the remembering being stored in the head of the coming generation. So many of the children born to the Earth tribe came into the world after long hours of labor and at great pain to their mothers, and some would never utter their first cry. Others would be born to live only a few breaths of life and then travel the road of spirit. Among the brown-colored people, the ritual of birth and death had created a tradition that continued from generation to generation. The birth blood on an infant marked the child as a child of the people. The clan discovered through hunting and eating various animals that all creature beings had red blood also, which was a sign of being part of the planetary family. So those of the Earth Mother's family were to be smeared with red clay and placed again in her womb when the body died. These people of brown color were actually then called the Red Earth people because they started using red ochre paint made from clay and the fat of muskox to show that they were faithful to Earth Mother. So since that time, red denotes faith among those who count themselves among the people. Those two-legged gladly gave the robe that clothed their earth spirit back to Earth Mother to fertilize her soil, so that through their empty bodies, others would find nourishment. The green medicines of the plant people grew abundantly where a two-legged who once shared in this way is buried. So in other words, they gave their bodies gladly. They didn't contaminate them. So the imprint of pride and self-importance had once again taught the would-be leaders to ignore their feelings and the place where spider or spirit, Munaki, God, process, breath of life was living within them. The harmony of heartfelt sharing and equally honoring every clan member's medicine was dying. So one evening, the Sky Nation took on a mantle of pea green and color spurted forth from the Earth Mother to the Star Nation. This whirling rainbow, the promise of peace for the faithful, was the sign to retreat into inner Earth because Mother Earth was once again purging herself of those who would not live in harmony. Out of the Mother's love, these spirits would be given another chance to grow in the third world and so end at the second world of ice. So the second world ended as it had begun with an ice age. And that's where we'll stop for tonight.
Ice age. Hey.
We're gonna come into the third world next week.
Okay, so a creation story that is a never-ending story.
Well, and the interesting thing is, as we go through these worlds, I will point out when we get to the end that while we think they occurred in linear time, we can see aspects of them right now, because the brown people with the brown women with their fear of giving birth, some of us have all been brown, and I mean, we've all been different colors at different points in our earth walk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, like, the common consensus among my daughter and her age group is that they don't want to mar their bodies with giving birth, so none of them want to have babies.
Okay.
It's an alteration, but it's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same theme.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So we see aspects of, while this is a kind of a linear story, it's still a common story, it's still a current story, because in Father Time there is no truly linearity.
Wow, that's enlightening. And And so it is going to be a story that will continue, and maybe will get
Yeah.
rewritten. And it's a story where anybody or everyone that chooses to participate in the world will be able to write and improve and make and be
Yeah.
part of that story. So
Right.
we want to invite people for that to join this action, this project of overcoming. I was watching this, this Catherine Austin Fitz
Hmm.
woman. She got interviewed by Tucker Carlson, and I don't want to like play favorites or anything. There's a lot of things I don't like about them, um, but it was really interesting because that woman does know a few things,
Oh, yes, she does.
and and she said that one of the biggest psyops today is convincing people that the situation is hopeless.
Yeah. Yeah.
This apocalyptic kind of paradigm where you're not ever going to. There's just no hope for this situation. Wherever you see it, whatever story, whatever ending story you're being told, it's a story where there's no salvation. There's no solution in sight.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all apocalyptic. And yeah, and that's like the voice message I left you this morning comes from Jose Arguelles. Absolutely comes from Jose Arguelles, because he brought the message of this 1320 natural synchronicity time with a 13 moon 28-day calendar to the Vatican and to the United Nations to get them to change this, to start this on July 26, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
He told them that because he was convinced that Earth's biosphere had been replaced by the technosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Earth's biosphere can never be replaced. It just can't. That's just that's one of the absolute truths. There is nothing we humans can do to replace her biosphere. And he has the idea that we need it to then get to the noosphere, which is the mental envelope, which is in the of Earth Mother, which is in the Kuiper belt, the right. Just kind of a totally unliving view of Pachamama, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then he called the humans noospheric chips.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 1310 synchronicity really makes sense with 1320 with our 10 digits on fingers and 10 on toes, right? And 13, and we'll get into this later, not tonight, probably not for a couple, 3 weeks or so, but how we humans are really, and animals also are really articulations of Father Time, Mother Space.
Mm-hmm.
We are truly the song, and we sing the universe into being, and you'll see that on the video I shared on my Facebook page. But he gave them such a mechanistic view and told them that if we didn't choose this by 2014, that Mother Earth was just going to split apart into asteroids.
Yeah, then it's like
Where
it was doing so. It was so believable until you got there.
well, yes and no, because if you consider Pachamama a living entity, you know that her biosphere can never be replaced. It can never. And so this is why we see Elon Musk frantically launching satellite after satellite after satellite after satellite, trying to create this technosphere.
Mm-hmm.
The digital prison camps, concentration camps that Catherine Austin Fitz talks about.
Yeah.
They're desperately trying, but they know they're failing because they haven't succeeded in creating their model economy anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And so I
Yeah.
refuse to believe, like just last night, I think it was, I saw a friend of mine on Facebook say, this is true. A lady at the Seattle port is saying there are no foreign ships in the Seattle port. So that means grocery store shelves are going to be empty soon. What does that do? That's all, I would imagine that's all AI generated, because it makes people want to this time run, instead of toilet paper, it'll make them run into the store and grab everything and start hoarding everything. And then it
Mhm.
will produce a mass shortage. And
There's a lot of those experiments happening.
yeah,
But then a lot of them don't succeed. I think that even as zombified as the general population might be, there's still a great factor of consciousness and
yeah,
intelligence that prevails, and
the God
makes it
process and Pachamama. I mean, it's
so that many of these ops don't succeed as they.
right.
So they're just like testing the people. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this
Yeah.
works, and so on. So lots to talk about. We'll continue next week with the creation story, the second part. Right?
Yeah. And it's not going to be real long, so we might start into yin yang, the anima, animus.
Okay.
Or we might, next week might be short, and then we'll save the rest, the yin yang, anima, animus, for another time.
Okay. So very exciting, and there's the invitation for everyone. And if there's nothing else to add, then we will close this,
That's it.
this show. So see you folks next week. Please join us and support us. And many blessings to all.